Old tank water. Is it clean? Is it dirty? Is there anything useful in it? Does it contain bacteria? Does it not contain bacteria? Why do we keep it? Why do people think they need to keep it? Should you keep it? Let's talk about it. Thanks for tuning in. Good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in to another show here at All Things Fish. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm Mike. This is All Things Fish. If you're coming back, thanks for tuning in again. We appreciate having you here and taking the time to be with me while we attempt to explore and learn about some different things in the hobby. As you can see, I'm more or less living out of a hotel room right now on a work trip. That's how things are going to be for the next few weeks here, so bear with me on the lack of scenery. Once I get back home, we'll have a lot more to show you guys. But other than that, thanks. Hope you guys are having a great day. There's a couple topics that you seem to run up on all the time. They're just constantly recurring as new people get into the hobby, and some old people that have just never tried new things. The same questions keep coming up, and one big one that I see and recently saw online through a Facebook post was using old tank water, moving tank water, whether you're setting up a new tank and you want to try to get things going a little bit faster, or whether you're taking an existing tank and moving it from one place to another location, whether that location is in the same spot in your house, or you might be moving, a block down the street, or perhaps you might be moving across the state. And I've moved tanks in all those situations. So let's talk about it. And the point was brought up, or the suggestion was made, I guess, that if you use old tank water from an existing tank, you can put that tank water into a brand new aquarium and you'll instantly be able to have a certain amount of fish in there. Maybe not a bunch of fish, maybe just a few, but the advice was given that if you use the tank water from an existing tank, that you'll immediately be safe to put fish in there. And let's think about this for just a moment, because this is pretty poor advice that we see pop up on different threads on the internet all the time, and even in some local shops that recommend that you either use their tank water or you get some tank water from another fish tank and put it in your tank, and somehow that miraculously makes that tank safe for your fish. And while the water column in your tank, or any tank really, may contain some beneficial bacteria, really the amounts that we're considering here, it's minute, it's negligible. The majority of your beneficial bacteria is going to colonize on hard surfaces, whether that be hardscape in the tank like rocks, plants, planted tanks, or if you just have a lot of fake plants in a tank, actually have a lot of surface area for that beneficial bacteria to colonize on. And that beneficial bacteria is what converts the ammonia from breaking down fish waste and extra food into nitrites, and ultimately nitrates, which are a little bit safer for your fish. So yeah, let's think about it. There's the people say, yeah, move as much tank water as you can to the new tank, or move as much water from your old tank and put it in tubs and load it up in your car and take it to the new location and then throw it back in the tank. Really, like I said, there's not much bacteria in there. There's a very small amount, and it certainly isn't enough to really kickstart cycling and really colonizing that beneficial bacteria on your new filter. The majority of your beneficial bacteria is found in that high surface area media that a lot of people spend a bunch of money on, whether it's ceramic bio rings or foam or filter floss. Those are high surface area media that they use to colonize all those bacteria. So those bacteria sit in those higher flow areas like your filter, and that way they have easy access to the nutrients, and that's what really drives them to repopulate. However, there's not a lot of, like I said, not a lot of beneficial bacteria floating around in the tank water itself. So when people ask, I'm moving my tank from point A to point B, and somebody says, well, take as much water as you can and move it over there, blah, 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 you're wasting your time and your effort, in my opinion, because you're just moving dirty old tank water that should have been changed out in the next water change anyway. So it's not doing a whole lot to help your cycle. If you're just moving an existing tank from point A to point B, as long as you keep your filter media moist for a reasonable amount of time and oxygenated, if it's if it's going to be a 3 or 4 day trip, you may need to assist the oxygenation of whatever container you're keeping your media in. But really, most of what you care about is in your filter. It's that filter media that houses most of that beneficial bacteria that really is the media itself. You cycle media. You don't really cycle a fish tank. You cycle the media itself. You age it. You colonize those beneficial bacteria that convert the ammonia into nitrites. Eventually, nitrates that either get exported through water changes or soaked up by the plants, and then trim the plants. Boom, nitrates are gone. So that's my take on it. And same thing, like I said, start a new tank by using somebody else's dirty water. You're not doing yourselves any favor. Like I said, you're moving water that should have been dumped in the garden or dumped down the drain at the next water change, and there's not much bacteria in there. And I've seen it several times where maybe a store says, hey, if you use old tank water, or if you buy some of our tank water, then you'll be able to add fish to your tank. And shortly after, that user ends up having problems. They're losing fish in the next couple days because it didn't do them any favors. It may have contained a very small amount of bacteria to maybe hopefully seed the media, but it's definitely not enough to make it worth the hassle of moving a bunch of dirty water around. So save yourself the time. If you want to, really make a new tank, or relocate a tank safe for fish right away, like I said, get your hands, either move your filter media is the best way if you're just moving tanks, or if you're getting a new tank, setting it up. The best thing you can do, really, as far as being able to put fish in there right away, is getting some really mature aged media that's been well colonized with beneficial bacteria from either one of your other filters, or ask around locally. With the internet now, you can go on Facebook, and in 2 minutes you can find almost anything you'd want. So just ask them, like, hey, does anybody have some media? They let me buy off them. And that's really going to usually kickstart your cycle real quick, because you're taking a bunch of bacteria, you're putting it in that tank, and you're really getting that going. Then once you add a little more food source for it, by whether that's fish, or if you're doing you just throw a little ammonia in there yourselves, you want to make sure it's stable, so you want to do a fishless type situation. But yeah, getting that used media is going to really get you off on the right foot. There are products out there, such as, I think Fritz has their Turbo Start 700 for fresh and 900 for salt. And while I haven't personally used either of these products, it does appear that there actually is a lot of folks out there that have had really good luck speeding up the cycle process. I'm not going to say it instantly cycles a tank, but the data I've shown from different people's projects shows that it definitely speeds it up dramatically. And that's one thing that I'm going to do here on this channel in the future once I get back home, where I have access to my tanks, a little more free time. Is I'm going to set up a few tanks, set up a tank with straight tap water, no additives, set up a tank with some seeded media, set up a tank using Fritz and brand new media, and then I'll set up a tank just to get the data of a tank where all I do is use brand new media and old dirty tank water, and we'll see if there's actually any truth to it. Maybe it decreases it by a surprising amount, but the science behind it doesn't really support the idea that moving old dirty tank water around is worth the effort. But that's it. That's my 2 cents on moving tank water around to try to either help make things easier relocating a tank, or to set up a new tank. I'd like to hear your guys' opinions on it in the comments below, or if you want to make a video and just send the link my way. Let me know what you think. Let me know what experiments or testing that you've done, whether it's with like a Dr. Tim's product or Fritz Turbo Start, or if you've done the work to move dirty water around using brand new media and you have the test results. I'd be interested to see them. But so far, from the articles that I've read, the testing I've done and my personal experience, it doesn't help enough to make it worth the effort. So that's all for now. Thanks for tuning in. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this content. Let your friends know about it. Hit the bell down at the bottom. That way you'll find out as soon as I release the next video. And we'll see you around. Have a great day and good luck.